Imagine your best friend suddenly becomes your soulmate. Yet your relationship is thrown into chaos by a mysterious incident. In this school, power struggles and agent secrets are gradually emerging. I am the protagonist of this intricate tale of love and hate. And you? Are you willing to unravel these mysteries with me? 9. Jason Melinda. Everyone froze. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing enthusiasm. Honestly, I don't know what happened to ruin our relationship. Everything happened so quickly. Melinda used to be my best friend. We grew up together and did everything just like that. She was on top of me. My vision failing, and in the next morning we were both naked in her bed with a rape drug next to her nightstand. She technically raped me. It's weird and confusing, especially since she never showed any signs of liking me in that way. But then again, even if she did, I probably never noticed. She was good at keeping things to herself. I looked at Carstek Al, who was looking at everyone with a confused frown. If she bothers you again, tell me immediately, okay? She nodded. I'll talk with her. And with that I excused myself and started walking towards the cheerleading table. The cheerleading table was made of, as you can guess, cheerleaders and jocks. It was close to our table since they were considered popular. As I was getting closer, the humming and conversations that they were having stopped, leaving everyone to look at me. I searched through the table until my eyes settled on the red-haired girl. Kill her. Dazzle, no. Melinda, can I have a word with you? She threw a smug smile at Tiffany, who was seated beside her, receiving a dark glare from the blonde bimbo as she stood up. We walked out of the cafeteria, whispers filling the room, while I glanced at my Carstek L, who was watching everything with an unreadable expression on her face. Then I looked at the Melinda, who was staring at me, while I glanced at my mate. While on our exit, I remembered what I asked for to Dean, one of the head security of the kingdom. I asked for every possible information on Castiel. Now that I'm thinking better about this, I won't read the papers he will send me. She's my mate, and I should learn on how to trust her and not invade her privacy like that. I was just extremely concerned and hot-headed after she disappeared that I didn't think through. It's not right. When we finally arrived to an empty hallway, I pushed Melinda against the locker. What the hell do you think you are doing? She smirked. I'm doing the right and logical thing. Pushing Castiel out of the way. Stay away from my mate. Melinda, I'm warning you. Her eyes widened. She yelled, shocked. Did I stutter? That's not possible. She's weak. She's human. You are a king. You are pure, and she is a weak and dirty human, Jason. I growled, my eyes burning with a silver color. How dare she? If you talk shit about my mate, your future queen, again I'll personally cut off your head, but before I'll torture you in the worst ways possible. Understood? The same happens if you dare to lay one of your dirty fingers on one of her silky strands of hair. Her eyes started watering and she gulped. Then as she remembered something, she recovered and replied. She humiliated Tiffany. She fought with Elder Protter's granddaughter. And you better than anyone else know to not mess with the Pratters. They are a prestigious family. They are direct descendants of the moon goddess, and trust me when I say this, she will be punished by the goddess herself when she hears about what went down. Right in front of you and all the werewolf community in this school. The gods can do you no harm, but I can't say the same about her. How are you going to protect her then? I was about to choke her to death when she escaped and ran until I couldn't see her anymore. She's one of the best fighters that we have after all. Obviously she knew how to escape without getting her torn noticed. Let me get her. Let's go back to our mate, okay, Basil? He agreed, still on the edge. He was divided between going after that bitch or go check on his mate. Of course our mate is on top of our priorities. Re-entering in the canteen, the place went quiet. The only noise was my feet pounding the ground, full of anger. I just need to hold my angel. I need her scent. I need my mate. When I got close to our table, I noticed that she wasn't there. Where is she? My blood was boiling, my eyes switching color. Bro, calm down. She went with Isabella to get more food since you dropped yours when you got up to go talk with the Oompa Loompa bitch. Axel said. Yeah, she started ranting how you'd be hungry and how you'd be upset because you wouldn't eat anything. Ethan continued. She only knows you for a few days and she's already worried about you, as you guys have known each other for years. Eli said with a smile. The mate bond is something wonderful, isn't it? William sighed with a shy smile, looking at Isabella's empty chair. Simp. However, my heart fluttered knowing that my mate was worried about me over a simple thing as a lunch. She cares. Again, I started feeling warm and fussy on the inside. My stomach was jumping around with happiness. Mate. Isabella and Cast-IL were back with a box full of pizza. I'm sorry, but there wasn't anything else to buy in the cafeteria. The steak ended 10 minutes ago. My mate pushed the box towards me. I smiled at her. Thank you, Angel. It's okay, really. She froze before smiling nervously and then stared somewhere else. Mate cute. Okay guys, well, we were getting Jason's food. We thought that it would be cool to have a movies night tomorrow since it's Friday. Isabella adjusted excitedly. Okay, at whose house? William asked, wrapping his arm around Isabella's waist. I don't mind if you guys come over. Nero is out visiting our dad and he'll only be back in a few months. Cast-IL said. You don't live with your parents. Everyone looked at her as she froze. Then she recovered and quickly said, No, I live alone. Nero is barely at the house because he's always traveling and doing stuff. Human, do your parents are okay with you living alone? Oh yeah, then she muttered something lowly. That if I didn't have werewolf hearing I wouldn't be able to catch. It's not like they can come back from the land of the dead. Her parents are dead. My poor Angel. Everyone looked depressed, so they must have heard her too. I'm sorry for your loss, Cass. Ethan said with a sad smile. Cass. They have Nick travelers now. Interesting. I'll talk with Ethan later about this. What lost? She looked confused. Your parents. Ethan said, looking confused as well. She frowned. What about them? You said, it's not like they can come back from the land of the dead. She paled. I said that. Oh haha, the land of the dead is what we call our hometown. It's a family joke, she said, fiddling with her blouse. Where's your hometown? Far away. Far away where? Axel pushed. It's complicated, she said, looking panicked. What are your parents' names? Her eyes widened. Wide as curious. My mom's name is Charmine. Oh, like the angel? Eli asked, interested. Yes, we are a really religious family. At school. How about your dad? Axel asked. She froze again. And my dad's name is Lucy. He's not from here, so he has a weird name, haha. She was nervous. What are you hiding, Cast-IL? To my agent extraordinaire, Mythical Nilbe. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience and enthusiasm. So tomorrow at 4 p.m. at my place? She asked, changing the subject. Everyone nodded. Wait, we don't know where you live, Ethan said. Oh, you can just follow Carl. She suggested it. Carl. Axel frowned. Yuck all. My driver. He's really cool, you don't have to worry about him, she said with a caring smile. I need to meet this Carl. Why does my mate talk about this dude with so much adoration? It's settled then. To my agent extraordinaire, Mythical Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Wait, you guys don't have to ask your parents first. This time was our turn to freeze. We all lived in the pack house while our parents lived in my case in the castle or on their own houses until we finish high school. They are all pretty chillin' friends, so they are okay with us having sleepovers and stuff. That's cool. Cast-I did with a smile, nodding her head. She's so pretty. Yeah, we hope that one day we can have a big dinner with our parents, including yours, Cast-IL. It would be cool to meet them, Elijah said. There was weird golden glint in Cast-IL's eyes when she replied to Eli. Oh, don't worry about meeting my parents. I assure you that you'll meet one of them at least. Everyone does. She looked like she was in a trance, then she snapped out of it, while everyone looked at her weirdly. I'll talk with them about that dinner. They might come over, she said with a smile. Then the bell rang and she went to her class, leaving all of us with our own confused thoughts. Who are you, Cast-IL? 10 Cast-IL. Well, that was close. Why the hell did they started interrogating me like that? I felt so bare and exposed with their curious and judgmental eyes. With judging eyes I mean Axel. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfading enthusiasm. For some reason I feel like he doesn't like me very much, or maybe I haven't gained his trust yet. I choose to believe in the latter. Right now is 7 in the morning and I can't stop replaying our conversation over and over again to make sure that I didn't give in any suspicious information. I decided to get up and start my day, but as soon as my feet touched the coal floor, I quickly retrieved back and laid lazy on my bed for another 6 minutes before getting up for good, ignoring the shivers that went down my spine with every step that I took until I reached the bathroom. I looked in the mirror and kept on going my business, but then I quickly looked up again. My eyes were glowing orange with golden sparks around my iris. I was about to turn around to get ready, shrugging it off, when it clicked. Crap. Another prayer. I groaned in annoyance and laziness. I will demand to give me vacations if thing turns regular. Giving my face a splash of water, I sprinted downstairs until I reached the kitchen, where I grabbed an apple and a granola bar. Whoa, Miss Castiel, where are you going? You are not even dressed. And what kind of crappy breakfast is that, young lady? She shouted. Maria, I received another, or is on I need to go. Dear God. Another one. And this early. Be careful, child. I smiled at her concern. I'll be back before 8. And I quickly added, though, and I'm having friends to stay over tonight. And like a flash I was out of the house. I quickly let my wings out and started to feel the amazing burning feeling spreading through my body. I was on fire. Hellfire to be exact. After a few seconds my flames calmed down, turning into my majestic vests. The long silky dress coming down, brushing my legs. It's not a beauty dress, it's a war one, a godly vest. It's perfect because you can move freely in it, and it does not get in your way when you are fighting. Flying towards the prey, my wings started melting. And it feels so good. Some people have heard fairy tales, legends, myths and rumors about me, and many wonder why I'm on fire. Some say that I was an abused child that was burned alive and turned into an angel to revenge and protect all the creatures in pain. Others say that I was an angel that tried to go down to earth, and on my way I flew too closely to the sun while it was setting and turned into angelic barbecue. However, none of them wondered the real and simple truth. I'm an half hell, half heaven creature, and the daughter of the most terrifying imaginable creature of all times, the devil. That's where I got the fire. That's why my wings are melting. The most scary part is that we both, me and my brother, carry the most powerful of all the powers. Imagine bad and good all mixed up. Imagine the huge ball of Ver to TM Ignis. Translated, Ver to TM means power and Ignis means fire. It can be understood in a million of ways, but no one knows its actually meaning. And hopefully no one ever will. The greatest and strongest power can only occur when high and dangerous emotions are felt, like. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfading enthusiasm. Sadness, pain, hope. This is why we need to have self-control. If we step out of the line, a lot of destruction will spread like plague. Something that not even all the gods and goddesses, magical creatures or humans can stop. However, we were both sent to Earth to protect the supernatural creatures. This was decided after the Dead War, the most bloody and deadliest war that has ever happened. Me and Nero were only 15 when this happened. It was a war between all the dead creatures that lived in hell and heaven. When Mom and Dad had us, they had to lose some of their responsibilities time. And in that short amount of time, the dead and the immortals started a war. No one knows the motive, but then again no one survived to tell the story. Everyone in the council had to intervene and actually fight. It was the council against the dead and the immortals, and some spirits fell down onto Earth. Destructed, turned into ashes, not able to come back in living form. Not only dead and immortal creatures were gone, but also some of the greatest gods, like Roderick, the vampire's god. He used to be one of my dad's best friends and a loyal creature. Since the fall of Roderick, the moon goddess has been responsible for both vampires and the werewolves. To avoid this kind of conflict, we are here. The two of us can impose peace by words or by force. I looked down and noticed a kid surrounded by a tornado. The wind werewolf element has renewed its generation. Landing on the ground, I raced towards the boy and lifted my arm, moving the tornado high above him, making him stumble down to the floor. Still with my arm in the air, freezing may I add, I crunched down to the little guy's level and starting his soft innocent hair, making him look up at me and jump. "W, you called me through your mind, so you tell me." His eyes widened. "You are one of the twins?" he asked, excited. I nodded, wrapping my wings around his form in a protective and caring way, smiling down at him. He grinned and I noticed that his heart beating started to calm down after a few minutes of me playing with his hair. If we were both humans, I'd probably seem like a creep or a pedophile. "Great. Okay, so do you see this tornado over our heads?" He nodded shyly. "Well, you can control it and make it disappear. Do you want it to disappear?" He nodded his head rapidly with wide eyes. "All you have to do is imagine him disappearing, piece by piece. Remember, you control the wind." He concentrated and closed his fist tightly. A few seconds went by and the tornado was still above us. "You are too rigid. Relax, I'm here. No harm will come to you." He closed his eyes, took a deep breath and unclenched his fists. And slowly the mass of angry wind started to become a soft breeze. He opened his eyes cautiously and then started jumping. "I did it. I did it. Let's do it again." I chuckled. "Calm down, little guy. Tell me, what's your name?" A blush overcame his cheeks and he replied, "My name is Tom. I'm Castiel." I smiled warmly at him. "You are really pretty, Castiel." He blushed while looking at his shoes. "Thank you, Tom. You are really cute. When you grown up, you will be a handsome man. I can't wait to tell my grandma that I met you. She admires you. She was the one that taught me how to call you for help." My smile faltered. "About that, Tom, I'm really sorry, but you can't tell anyone about me. I'm supposed to be kept in secret. I will come back to visit you anytime you want, but you can't tell about our secret, okay? Pinky promise." I smiled and gave him my pinky, intertwining them together. "I don't know why Arthur doesn't like you. You are so nice and pretty, Castiel." "Yeah, the nanny of the palace. The future Alva kicked her out the castle a few weeks ago." "Interesting," I said with a frown. "Don't worry, Castiel. I like you a lot." I smiled and kissed his cheek. "I like you too, Tommy. I gotta go now. But I promise that I'll visit in my human form, okay?" "Okay, bye, Castiel." And with that he shifted to chocolate brown wolf, ran off towards the Paxicure woods. I too took off and got myself home. I'm feeling happy now that I made a new friend. Even thought he is around 8 years old. I opened the front door, already in my human form, still with my pajamas on, and greeted Maria. "I'm back," I yelled dramatically. Maria chuckled and threw a pillow at me. "Go shower, miss. Your breakfast is ready, okay? Let me just grab a glass of water. I'm thirsty as hell." No pun intended. Talking about hell. Was it a demon again? I smiled softly, remembering Tom. "No, but there's a new wind werewolf element. He is 8 and the cutest child ever." Maria smiled, then sighed. "I miss when you and your brother were little. I want mini Castiels running around the house again. So tell me, my child, are you interested in any boy at the moment?" she asked, twiggling her eyebrows at the end. My cheeks went red as I choked on my water. "Oh, look at the time, I gotta go shower. Sayonara." And I sprinted upstairs towards the bathroom. However, the rosy cheeks stayed because while I was showering I couldn't stop blushing at the fact that, when she mentioned having kids, my mind went to Jason's face. 11. Jason. Today is Friday, also known as the end of the week, that glorious day for all the students and workers. But this Friday is special. This Friday I'll be able to spend extra time with my Castiel, my angel, and the rest of the group. But still we are going to bond. I'll get to know a little bit more about her since we are all going to watch some movies and have a group sleepover at her house. Basil kept sighing in my head. "Mate looks so pretty." To each I always replied with a sigh of my own, agree with him. We kept going back and forth complimenting our mate while staring discreetly at her. We are in our last period, physical education, PE for short, that we have with the girls. Usually boys and girls have gym class separately to avoid distractions. However, the girls' teacher, Mrs. Murray, is pregnant, which means that she has one day of rest, and as you can guess, Friday is her day off. Castiel is standing with Isabella in front of the gym lockers. They are both talking and recollecting their gym bags. I presume. She is wearing jeans with a cream sweater and light brown boots. And she looks stunning. Then both girls enter in the changer lockers and change to their gym clothes, and my jaw drops to the floor when I see my delicious mate with her fit black Nike tank top and leggings. She has all the right curves on the right places. Then I look around and my eyes made contact with Tiffany and her little minions. They were all wearing sport bras and short shorts. I rolled my eyes when that bitch sent me a wink, just to think that a few weeks ago I would consider her attitude attractive. Hot damn, Castiel looks so good. Man, imagine how she looks without all that. I'd so smash her. I heard with my werewolf hearing James, one of the football team's player, talking about my mate. James is, as you can guess, my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. But he's also a werewolf, so he has to respect me and my mate. Now that I think about this, only 37 students are actually human. Well, 38 now, counting with Castiel. She had unusual behaviors before, but she, as everyone else, has the right to have her own secrets and privacy. I can only hope that one day we will share our deepest secrets with each other. That she'll accept me. I'm still thinking about a way of telling her without making her run away or scared. A growl ripped through my chest as I stared at the dirty fucker who was having inappropriate thoughts about my mate. He was laughing with his teammates and then turned around to face me. His eyes widened in realization. He bowed, muttering a small apology, resuming to go back to his conversation with his friends. Okay, everyone stop talking and start stretching. I want 10 laps around the field, mister. Hopkins said, blowing his beloved whistle. Everyone started their work. 5 minutes later, people started running. On our 7th lap, I smacked notes. Teenagers were already breathing heavily, slowing down. Only the werewolves from my pack, the royal pack, were exercising at ease. Pride filled me in as I saw my future warriors so well trained. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I took a look at my mate and my eyes widened while watching her run as fast as the best fighters of my pack without even breaking a sweat. Basil immediately howled in my head. Mate strong. I shook my head and kept where I reached her. She was running alongside with Isabella, who was concentrated on her run. How the hell aren't you sweating? I asked my angel with a small chuckle. I don't sweat, she said in a playful manner, winking and sprinting. Isabella seemed to get out of her workout trance and looked at Castiel. Hey, wait for me, Cass. She laughed, running faster towards my mate. And I couldn't afford being left behind by 2 girls. Arrogant Cass. I took off running towards them, tickling them both on the sides before running even faster so they couldn't catch me and have their revenge. I was in my last lap, almost finishing it, when I felt something hit me softly on both of my sides, making me jump at the ticklish feeling. I heard her whisper in my ear. When I looked at her, I noticed that I was about to place my foot in the ground, officially making it my 10th lap, and she was a foot past the lap line. Basil was extremely satisfied with her behavior. Mate plays. Mate likes us. Feeling excited, Basil took full control, making me pick her up and start tickling her. She started laughing her cute laugh and tried to tickle me back, with no success, ending with both of us on the ground laughing, being carefree and happy. Today is going to be a good day. For she showered. Me and the boys were waiting at the school's entry for Isabella and Castiel to come out. They were both still in their gym clothes. Isabella was laughing really hard while Castiel was just shaking her head with a small amused smile and blushing. What's so funny? Axel looked at them weirdly. Castiel has a fire inside her. I swear that was so funny. You guys should have seen Marcus' face. What did Marcus do? Marcus was famous for always throwing himself at girls, and I hope for his sake that he didn't try to hit on mine. He tried to hit on Castiel and she just gave him the sauciest answer. Do not mess with her. And she went through another round of giggles while mocking her new friend. Castiel was blushing and playfully hit Isabella's arm while mumbling. He was being inappropriate. With that she shrugged and started walking towards the exit. I was infuriated that someone tried to make a move on my mate, but couldn't help but feel proud about my angel and how she could stand up for herself. We all started following her until we were outside where a brand new black Bentley, the infamous Bentley, stood with a man around 60 years waiting patiently in the driver's seat. "Good evening, Miss Jones." He saluted with a warm and fatherly smile. "Hey Carl, these are my friends. Isabella, William, to my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm." To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. "Ethan and Jason," she replied with an excited smile. "A pleasure to meet all of you." Everyone greeted him back politely. "Does anyone need a ride?" Carl inquired. "There's no need, sir. We can all fit in Jason's car." Elijah said, "Isabella, you can come with me. It's a few minutes drive and I'm sure you don't want to spend it in a car full of testosterone." Castiel said jokingly and chuckling weakly at the end. Isabella laughed and uttered eagerly. Carl opened and closed their car door. Then he sat in his driver's seat and waited for us to get on our car. He drove off and I followed him. Several minutes later, we were in front of a huge mansion with more sports cars and bikes all stationed in their own place. It was a really sophisticated mansion with a fountain in the middle of the large entrance. Well-treated gardens surrounding the buildings. Tons of different windows and a beautiful main door with stairs and pillars. How am I supposed to spoil her when she already has everything? I looked at my friends who were watching everything with eyes wide open and jaw dropped. Castiel and Isabella got out of the car and Carl went back to park the car. "What are you guys waiting for? Come on in." Castiel started running towards the house like a little kid and I just smiled at the sight. Following her, we entered the mansion and when I thought I couldn't get more amazed I looked at the inside the house and it was beautiful. Everything looked sophisticated and beautiful but with modern touches everywhere. A big chandelier hanging above our head full of crystals and diamonds, a marble floor under our feet. "My sweet angel, you are back. How was your day?" A petite old woman came in running, hugging Castiel. "Hi Maria. It was great, how about yours?" My mate asked back kindly. "It was really good too. When you told me that we were having guests I took off working and I couldn't be more glad. Finally something different to do in here. You need to bring friends more often, Miss Jones." Castiel laughed and nodded her head. "Will do." Then the woman turned to us and her eyes widened. "Oh dear. How rude of me. Didn't see you, the youngsters. I'm Maria, the main maid of the house." We introduced ourselves and I smiled at how excited the little woman seemed. "So which one of you is Castiel's boyfriend?" she asked, almost jumping. Castiel started blushing like crazy. "To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm." Basil growled. "Mate cute. Maria just laughed. "Okay, Isabella and I are going to take a shower. Maria, do you mind leading them towards the living room?" "Of course not, miss. Come with me, youngsters." Castiel and Isabella started running upstairs giggling. I smiled at my precious mate. Maria caught me looking at my angel and smirked knowingly. She led us towards the living room, passing by many halls and rooms. "I need to grab a few things from the master's open office. You can come if you want. It will be really quick." We nodded and followed her to the office. It was just a few doors down from where we were standing and she opened the door, showing us a huge room with 4 couches, a table at the center, and a big secretary on the left side of the room with an enormous painting on the wall. There stood a beautiful young woman with a light color hair and gentle hazel eyes next to a terrifying yet elegant-looking man with brown hair and dark eyes with little golden flecks on his eyes. 2 children stood with them, a boy and a girl. I immediately recognized Castiel when I looked at the young girl. It was a really beautiful family portrait. They all looked happy and in love. A perfect family. However, I couldn't help but notice how familiar her parents' features were. There was something in their eyes that made me feel like I knew them. The man radiated darkness and power and the woman had this light and kind aura. Where do I know them from? Maria quickly retrieved a bag with a golden stamp on it, and we made our way out and towards the living room. 12, Castiel. After Bella and I took a shower, we headed downstairs towards the living room, where the boys were waiting. And yes, said Bella. While we were bonding, we decided to try to work out some nicknames for each other. From now on, Isabella is no longer Isabella but Bella. And she decided to call me T. Weird, I know. We were both in our pajamas that consisted in shorts and a t-shirt since it was still hot at night. Mine was dark blue with a space pun and a space theme with planets and stars and all that kind of stuff. It's a really comfortable set and it doesn't reveal too much. Isabella's consisted of a light pink shirt saying I love naps and a pair of dark grey shorts with little white hearts on it. When we arrived to the living room, the boys were all sitting on the big dark couch looking around and lost. I wanted to laugh at their expressions, but I kept it for myself. I looked at Bella and noticed that she was also containing her laugh. Me and Isabella have been bonding a lot lately and it feels great to have a girlfriend. You can literally talk about everything. I smiled at them. Come on, I'll show you your rooms. Bring your bags. They all followed my instructions. William went immediately towards Isabella to pull her towards a hug and kissed her forehead. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Bella told me that they have been dating for 6 years now. It was love at first sight, and they were going still strong after so many years. I'd love to have something like that in the future too. My eyes darted towards Jason, who was talking with Axel about something that I don't understand. Their rooms were all next to each other's and they all started unpacking their stuff. Isabella stayed back to have some alone time with William while I moved towards the kitchen to talk with Maria. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I winced. I wrapped my arms around her small figure and rested my head on top of hers while she was cleaning the balcony. She smiled, her eyes full of amusement. Stay ill. She mocked back with a whiny tone. What's for dinner? Do you need help? I asked, trying to peek over her shoulder. It's lasagna. Both vegetarian and with meat. I didn't know which one they would prefer. I also made some homemade pizza and brown rice with mushrooms. And for the last time, Miss Jones, I'm not that old. I don't need your help yet. This is my job and I love it. She started rambling. I held my arms up in defense and she smirked. Now shoo, out of my kitchen. Go enjoy your time with that boyfriend of yours. How is his name? To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. She smirked heavily. I blushed, embarrassed. He's not my boyfriend. I argued back. Yet, was her reply. This woman is pure evil. I eventually returned to the living room. The boys were all with sweatpants and shirts that looked quite comfortable. So what do you guys want to do now? We can start our movie marathon, Eli suggested. Everyone agreed. Horror movie, Ethan asked with a small smirk. Isabella shivered and William kissed the top of her head in a comforting way. Double R. I looked at Ethan, who was clearly enjoying making Bella nervous. Let's save those for later, more deeper into the night. I smirked back at Ethan, who was smirking even more right now. We were both smirking at each other like psychopaths. Jason started coughing and glaring at Ethan, causing everyone to look at him. Sorry, got something stuck in my throat. How about Suicide Squad? I've never watched it before, but I think it goes with everyone's taste. He suggested. Good idea. I smiled at him. He smiled back. Oh my, he has dimples. Everyone sat down and got comfortable. I sat between one of the couch's arm and Isabella. Then I clicked on a button that makes the giant screen rise from the dark with support, and clicked another button that turned off the living room's lights, earning a wave of cool comments. Let the marathon begin. Later at night, near dinner time, the movie paused and an image of the communication camera in the kitchen appeared. A smiling Maria was showed in the screen. Dinner is ready, kids, she stated. Okay, we will be at the dining room in a second. Thank you, Maria. She nodded and smiled before turning around and freezing before entering in a phase of trance. Then the camera turned off. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I mumbled for myself. Maria is a fairy godmother, but she already lost most of her powers. She is almost human, but she can still communicate with her superiors through mind, link which might explain the sudden lack of movement. We arrived to the dining room where all the food was set on the big table, alongside with some drinks. Dig in, I said cheerfully. Everyone started chatting and eating. The table, for the first time in years, seemed alive. I smiled lovingly at the people around me, my friends. Then Maria popped up. She looked pale and she was almost shaking. Maria, what happened? I asked, concerned and getting up to reach her. Everybody stopped talking, their attention now focused on the current intervention. Mastercalled. I rose an eyebrow and giggled at her stuttering. Maria seemed to relax a bit. Everyone looked at me like I was a mad girl or something for giggling at the frightened petite woman. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Come on, he's not that scary. She glared me. You are his daughter. Of course he doesn't scare you. I'm sure only you, Madame Charmine, and your brother are not afraid of him, she said, fake shivering. I shook my head amused. Master wishes to speak with you, Castiel. I nodded smiling, patting her head in mockery. Oh, my little Maria, always afraid of the big boss. I teased her. She playfully hit my arm while scowling. Oh, you shush. Now, Ola, go talk to him. I laughed, grabbing a few chips that sat in a bowl on the table and went to the office, opening the secret portal. As cliché as it seems, the portal was indeed inside a closet. After a few seconds I found myself with glowing eyes in the underworld. I looked down. Yes, still same old white vest. Entering the castle and running towards the throne room, I smiled when I saw both my parents gushing about something. I grinned like a maniac while clearing my throat. Wanted to talk with me, father. My father looked at me and grinned, his eyes twinkling red. As you can guess by now, I'm Lucifer's little girl. 13, Jason. Basil couldn't stop growling and howling ever since we laid our eyes on her form in the dark-colored pajamas, her long-toned legs making a contrast with the dark shorts of her night set. She tied her hair into a bun, strands of silky brown hair covering her face, itching me to put them behind her little ear. God, she's so beautiful and all mine. My little mate. I smiled when I saw her re-enter the dining room, but my smile quickly vanished when I noticed her expression. She was smiling a fake smile and her eyes held pain. My blood started boiling. I don't care if who hurt her was her father or not. Absolutely no one upsets my mate and gets away with it. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Can we go talk in the kitchen? Maria paled. Am I in trouble? She squeaked. Okay, but who the hell is her father and why is everyone so scared of him? Castiel held her hand. No, you didn't do anything wrong. It's about Nero, she said sadly. Oh my, what happened to my little boy? And then they moved to the kitchen. When they were out of sight, everyone stared at me. Why is everyone afraid of her father? Eli asked. Good to know that I'm not the only one noticing that. I have no fucking clue. Whoever he is, he for sure has his way of demanding respect. What do you guys think that happened to T's brother? Isabella asked, playing with the hem of her shirt. Tiaxa asked, confused. My nickname for Castiel. I'm still trying it out, what else could it be? Isabella clarified with a dull tone. Axel rolled his eyes and shook his head. My mate and Maria came back a few minutes later, and everyone pretended that nothing strange happened in the middle of our meals. Maria shooed us out of the dining room when we finished eating, insisting that she could wash and clean everything without any help. She's a stubborn woman, I tell you. We were back to the living room. I noticed Castiel getting ready to sit in her previous spot, so I ran like a flash and sat right next to her, giving Isabella a sheepish smile for stealing her friend. We watched The Conjuring 2 and I laughed every time my mate jumped a fright because of Valet K, the evil creature. I'd never admit this to anyone, but Valet K did make me shiver. I learnt that Castiel loves horror movies. She might jump, scream, tight a hold on the couch's arm, but she always ended up laughing or giggling. She's adorable. We were in the middle of the fourth movie when I felt my mate's head rest against my shoulder. I looked down at her and smiled. She fell asleep. I scooped her and put her on my lap, making her head rest in chest. My heartbeat started speeding up when she started moving. Fuck, she woke up. Shit. I felt myself relax when I realized that she was just snuggling deeper into my chest. Still asleep. I felt like a weight just got off me. This girl will be the death of me. I kissed the top of her head and I heard her sigh in content, making a huge smile to appear in my face. Little angel. I looked around and noticed that only Axel was completely awake. Eli had his eyes narrowed. He was trying to fight off his sleep. William and Isabella were both sleeping and cuddling, and Ethan was in a weird upside-down position with his face almost meeting ground, his legs sprawled in couch and his feet in the air. I looked back at Elijah and noticed that his eyes were closed. I guessed the sleep one. I looked at Axel and started liking him. Everyone fell asleep. He chuckled through the link. Yet I kinda freaked out when I saw Ethan. His face is turning to red to be healthy, was his reply. I looked back at Ethan and noticed that his face was indeed a bit out of natural. The tips of his ears were turning slightly purple. This dude will end up killing himself during his sleep. I think we should carry them to the bedrooms, he suggested. I looked down at Castiel. Her soft pink lips were in a small smile form, her eyelashes resting softly over her light pink cheeks. That's probably because of my body heat. I don't want to let go of her yet. 5 more minutes, Axel nodded, turning his eyes to the big screen once again. I took those 5 minutes to look at my mate without looking like a creep. She raised perfect. And all mine. Monday morning came quicker than expected. I was walking through the hallways and started observing my surroundings. Teenagers were scattered everywhere. An annoying noise filling the hall. A mix of everyone's conversations. Laughs. Sounds. I'm turning king this week. I'll be responsible for all these kids. My eyes kept wandering around until they met a certain red-haired girl who was talking with some of her friends near her locker. Anger filled me in remembering our last encountering. Noticing my gaze, she took a glance at me, a ghost of a smirk appearing on her purple-coated lips. How dare she? I started walking faster, trying to avoid her, knowing that if she pissed me off for more than 3 seconds, I'd shift and tear her limbs apart one by one. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath when I entered in one of the empty classrooms. My eyes snapped open when I hear a chair moving against the ground. She must be suicidal. There stood Melinda sitting on a chair looking relaxed, legs crossed and a smug look washing over her face. What do you want? I snapped. I warned you both to stay away from each other. None of you listened, and in exactly a month, on the 3/3 night of full moon, at 11 p.m. there will occur an eclipse, one that will bring enough energy to invoke the moon goddess down on Earth. I already told the elders to prepare everything, including the chanting airs. No one opposed, seeing that everyone seemed to agree that the girl you call a mate is not worthy of her title. Why the hell is she even doing this? Why are you even doing this? I told you. She disrespected and humiliated Tiffany, a direct descendant from the moon goddess herself. And she must be punished. She must feel the moon's wrath. Besides, she will make a weak Luna queen, and you know that. I'm doing everyone a favor. The elders thought so too. I couldn't help it anymore and Basil took over. Not entirely, but enough to turn my eyes into an horrid silver color. My fangs and claws starting to stick out. If you touch my mate, I'll kill you. My voice sounded different. Husky and deeper. Basil had almost full control. In a swift move I ripped her skin in 4 different places: her stomach, leg, arm and neck. Blood started to pour out of her wounds. I would never hit a girl, but this bitch took it too far, and she knows better than pissing of an alpha werewolf, especially by touching sensitive topics such as mate. Besides, women and men are equally raised in my pack. Hit both or hit none. That's the rule, since female werewolves have as much strength as males because of the way they are trained. Basil, you can't harm her badly at school. I took control once again and looked down at Melinda. The wounds were deep, but she was already healing. She gave me a bloody smile. You can still avoid all of this. All you have to do is to keep her away from you. I clenched my fists. She chuckled weakly. Bye-bye, Castile. I saw Ed. I snapped and pushed her against a wall. She hit her head, making her pass out. She will be up again in 10 minutes or so. Maybe she will use that unconscious time to make conscious decisions. Again, it was against my morals to hit a girl. But this disgusting traitor deserves it, and so much more. I got out and locked the door. As I made my way towards my group, I started deciding what to do about all this moon goddess coming for Castile for absolute nonsense. I'll protect Castile at all costs. Little did I know about that price. 14. Castile. As soon as everybody left the house, I hurried up upstairs. The urge of stripping it out of my clothes growing. I was burning from the inside. Not the pleasurable type of burn. Not the type that I'm used to. This felt awful. Sweat dripping from my forehead. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Breasts, I was sweating from everywhere. I looked like I just got out of the shower. A disgusting shower of sweat. Turning on the water and quickly setting it to the coldest temperature possible, I started to feel a huge mass of pain hit me in the chest. My muscles were getting tense. It was coming. Why, Nero? I whispered. I started to feel dizzy, dark spots blurring my vision, and then I passed out. Only one thought swirling around in my mind. Why? I woke up to the sound of Maria's soothing voice. Castile. I slowly opened my eyes. A bright light dispersing through the room, making me flinch slightly. My vision, however, was different. Before I could see everything with a really sharp sight. Now it's sharper. I looked down at my hands and was shocked to see the minuscule particles of my skin. I can see nothing. I quickly got up, ignoring Maria's shouts, and went to the nearest mirror and let out a gasp at the sight. My skin was glowing. My eyes looked brighter. My lips looked more plump and red. My hair looked even softer than before. I raised a hand to touch the mirror and my breath hitched as I watched my reflection getting distorted, and just like that, the mirror exploded. I took a few steps back and checked my legs to see the little pieces of glass slowly getting out of my pierced skin, floating around the room, surrounding me. The cuts healed as quick as a blink of an eye. I moved my fingers downwards, making the floating glass pound onto the ground with so much strength that I'm sure that scratched the floor. Tem Ignis resides inside me. It's part of me and only me. The feeling was so overwhelming that a few tears escaped my eyes. Last night, when Ed called me, I was led into a room where everyone sat down. Mom, Dad, Nero and I. Nero then announced that was giving up on his powers. No justification. No nothing. Everyone in the room stood silent, watching my brother with wide shocked eyes. Dad, realizing what he said, stood up, angrily punching the table with so much force and rage that everyone backed off. He's the devil after all. His glowing and murderous red angry eyes looking at my brother. Only my mom was brave enough to approach my father and start in his arms and kissed his cheek, making him relax a tiny little bit. Lucifer, calm down. I'm sure this is just a misunderstood. She tried to soothe the tension. There's no misunderstanding, Mother. I'm being serious about this. My father pushed the table in my brother's direction, making the glass cup that was resting on the smooth surface of the polished wood table crash against Mightwind's hand. Silence. We all kept quiet while watching his hand bleed like there was no tomorrow. And it bled. And it bled. No golden crust. No healing. His hand turned a sickly white tone. His blue and purple veins popping out. So fragile. So human. Nero. I rasped out. I'm so sorry, Castile. His eyes held sadness and guilt. My dad rushed out of the room and my mom started crying. I was too shocked to say anything. I hugged them both tightly. After a few minutes I stood up with a blank emotional's face and decided to follow my father. I was walking. No running. I was running through the halls of the enormous castle, ignoring the servants' calls. Then I sprinted to the inside garden of the residence. The soul's garden. I pushed away the guards that kept telling me to stay away from my father and finally saw him. He was simply standing there looking at one specific rose. A black and golden rose. Its stalk and leaves were a dark, shiny black and its petals were a dull and lifeless golden color. How ironic. He stayed still. I decided then to hug him. After a few seconds he finally wrapped his cold arms around me. Actions sometimes mean way more than words. I shook out yesterday's memories and decided to head back to Maria. For how long have I been out? I whispered, my voice still raspy. 2 days and a half. It's still morning. I nodded. I will get ready for school then. I said tiredly. Are you sure, miss? I nodded emotionals and started getting ready. As soon as I entered school everything turned quiet. The only sound heard were my boots stepping on the ground. Everyone seemed to be gaping at me. And honestly, today I wasn't in the mood. I arched an eyebrow at them, and they slowly turned back to their conversations, but I could still feel them steal glances at me here and there. Then, since apparently is my fudging lucky day, Tiffany decided that it was a good time to come bug me again. She approached me and I ignored her and kept walking. And she, being the annoying female, dog that she is, started following me. And I, being the mature person that I am, kept ignoring her and her annoying minions. Once my locker came into view, I noticed that the group was there. As sensing my gaze, Isabella jumped and started sprinting at an inhuman speed towards me and squeezed the life out of me. I patted her head and kept walking towards my locker with Bella by my side, still ignoring Tiffany. Everyone hugged me, Jason being the last. When I started to unwrap my arms from his torso, he tightened his hold on me, snuggling his nose in my neck. "J'aimerais extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm." I hand-grabbed my arm and harshly grasped it, gusting out of Jason's body, causing him to let out a weird sound, something that sounded like a growl. I turned around and noticed that it was Tiffany. "Stop ignoring me, and stay the fuck away from my boyfriend," she all but shouted, making me wince at the loud squeak. I gave her an unimpressed look. "I've been ignoring you because my patience today is holding by a thread, and I'd really suggest you to keep your hand away from my arm before you become handless. Second, since when is Jason your boyfriend? I know that I missed a day of school, but I think I'd have noticed something different. Third, stop bothering me." She quickly removed her hand from my arm. "Whatever." And then she turned around and bugged off. I turned around and opened my locker to get my books. "Are you KT?" I nodded blankly at her. "You're just tired," I replied, not looking at anyone in the eye. "Why did you miss school yesterday? Is everything okay?" Axel asked, actually looking concerned. I immediately tensed up. "Yeah, just some family-related issues." And then I closed the locker. Involuntarily using a bit too much for creating a dent. Great. I was getting ready to their reactions, but opened my eyes when I received none. I realized that everyone in the group was scowling at the new intruder. Recognition flashed through his dark eyes. "Style?" he asked, excited, slightly bowing his head. "Aromas Ed Camkin." I replied, smiling and nodding at him. Aromas Ed attempted to take a step towards me. Keyword attempted. Elijah pushed him away and glared at him. "What's wrong with you guys?" I asked then. "You see, Camkins and the Silvers don't really get along," Aromas Ed said, looking smug. "Silvers? My last name is Silver," Jason replied, not taking his eyes off Aromas Ed. I nodded, still confused to whatever was happening. "Style, I really need to talk with you." "Alone?" Aromas Ed said. "I'm Jason," with narrowed eyes. Before I could answer, the blue-eyed boy answered for me. "I don't trust you. I don't want you alone with my Style. Whatever you have to say, you can say it right in front of us," he defended. "J'aimerais extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm." "Your Style," Last time I checked, she didn't belong to anyone. Jason opened his mouth ready to protest. I noticed that his eyes were a shade darker and his fists were clenched tightly. Guys, that's enough. They both looked at me and stayed away from each other. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I've known Aramas E since I was 5. I trust him with my life. Can I please talk to him alone? I asked, trying to make him see that I was safe. No, he said harshly. Oh boy, today is not my day and they keep pushing my buttons. I took a deep breath. Now explain me. Your Highness, who the hell do you think you are to forbid me from talking to my friend, who is probably sent from my father with an important message? I asked angrily. I told Tiffany that my patience is holding by a thread today, meaning that people should be careful to not piss me off by disrespecting me and my independence. You don't own me. You can't tell me what to do, I stated with a deadly tone in my voice. After seconds that seemed hours of silence of us just staring out at each other in challenge, Aramas E finally spoke up. So can we talk outside? I turned to Jason. I don't know, can we? I asked with sarcasm. I'm sorry, Castiel. I didn't mean to anger nor disrespect you, I just worry about you, okay? And I don't want you to get hurt. Please, he said softly. Now I'm feeling bad for being mad at him like that. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. No, I'm sorry. I just exploded because I'm already having a bad day. You weren't even that bad, it's just. I let out a deep breath. Fine. Or just say it. They will end up to know anyways. Everyone will. Aramas E said with a sigh, noticing the tension in the air. Castiel. Has it came already? I nodded. Yes, Saturday morning. How long were you hurt out?
It has gone up into the point from the corner of his eye.
2 days and a half. He nodded. Is it controlled? To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. He nodded again. Okay. That's the most important that I had to know. I guess I'll ask you the rest later. I nodded. Your parents are worried about you. How's Nero? My demeanor quickly dimmed. I don't know, I whispered. He nodded understandingly. Aramas E is a vampire. A messenger. He used to communicate with Roderick all the time, but lately he's been receiving and delivering messages from either my parents or from the Moon Guys. I know that he's aware that his god, his father, was involved at Dead War. I'm not sure if he knows that he's gone. As if reading my thoughts, he spoke up. Castiel. Is my father? You know. He finally asked. My eyes were watering as I nodded slowly. You are under Aurora's wing for now. He nodded, blankly. I'll talk to you later. It was good to see you, Castiel. We need to catch up. And he started walking away. You too, I whispered weakly. Adjusting the books in my arms, I lowered my head and mumbled. Excuse me, and ran to the bathroom, where I passed 3 minutes trying to recompose myself. That was until I heard a knock. 15. Jason, I'm mad. In fact, I'm furious. And it all falls down again towards the same usual person at Aramas E Camkin. That disgusting bloodsucker. It's our natural instinct as werewolves to hate vampires, but the Silvers and Camkins are a whole new level. They are the reason why I almost lost my mom and sister. And after seeing him so close to my mate, something triggered inside me. Around pure anger. I'm also irritated because Castiel got mad at me. What she said wasn't even that hurtful, but how she said it hurt my wolf but angered my alpha pride. From what I got from their conversation, something arrived in Castiel had to travel, and the thing that supposedly arrived was controlled. Then they started having a peril about Aramas Edie's family. Something happened to his father, and he is under what I presume to be a relative of his. God. How Castiel knew it first, then him, however, is what makes me curious. Maybe that's the connection with her father. He's maybe a judge or a lawyer. It makes sense. But on the good side, if Castiel and Aramas had been friends since kids, then she probably knows that he's a supernatural creature, which will make things much way easier for when I tell her what and who I am. School finished sooner than I expected. After the whole incident this morning, Castiel seemed to have vanished. And it's probably my fault. Sighing, I entered the pack house and went to the living room that was surprisingly empty. Or so I thought. As soon as I relaxed in the couch, a small body jumped on top of me, followed by a row of giggles. I smiled down at Tom and grabbed him by his right leg and right arm, spinning him around and throw him in the air a few times before catching him and put him down on the couch. Tommy is Axel's younger brother, and he and my sister are friends, despite their 2 years age gap. I caught you, he said, excited. I huffed and threw him a funny look, only because I was distracted, I said while narrowing my eyes at him. Distracted thinking about girls? He asked with his big eyes staring back at me. I looked down at him and ruffled his dark hair. Yes, actually I found my mate, I told him. He suddenly jumped and started shaking my arm. Really? We are getting a queen. What's her name? How is she? I smiled at his enthusiasm. Her name is Castiel, and he interrupted me midway while jumping up and down on the couch. Castiel. Brown hair, green eyes, and really pretty. I looked at him weirdly. How do you know? I asked, curious, furrowing my brows at him. We are friends. She helped me when I was in the woods the other day. He stopped himself in the middle of the phrase like he was about to say something that he shouldn't. Odd, really. How come I didn't know about this? He blushed but stayed quiet. Can she hang out with us today? She promised me that she'd visit me. I smiled at him, ignoring my wolf's jealousy. I'm not sure, Tom, we need to warn everyone else to not mention about being werewolves. And I'm not sure if you can come today. And even if she could, I don't think she would. He nodded but stopped. Why wouldn't she come? I looked at him and took a deep breath. Castiel and I had a small disagreement. It's okay, just grown-up things. He nodded again. I'm sure she isn't mad at you. Castiel is different. She's special. I nodded, not really understanding what he meant, but I had to agree my mate was definitely special. She's my Lunar Queen, and I'm her Alpha King, even if she doesn't know it. Yet, I smiled at the thought. Thank you, Tom. He's a really good kid. My wolf started purring at the thought of kids. Our mate bare feet pregnant in our arms. God basil, I'm not even 18 yet. Retrieving my phone from my pocket, I quickly dialed Castiel's number and waited for her sweet voice. After 2 rings, she finally picked up. Hello. Her sweet voice sounded to the line. Hey, Castiel. I said, grinning like a fool. Hi, Jason. She replied shyly. So I came to know that you are friends with Tom, I said while looking at the kid that was currently sitting still while looking at me, trying to listen to the phone conversation. You know Tommy? She asked, surprised. Yeah, he's actually standing right here. In fact, I'm going to pass him the phone, I said, noticing how Tom's head snapped towards me when he heard his name. Hey, Castiel, he said, playing with his shoelaces. After a few seconds that seemed like minutes, he hung up. Why did you hang up? I wanted to ask her something. I asked Tom, who had a little kid smirk on his face. He actually looks like Axel right now. It's slightly disturbing. Whatever you have to ask her, you can ask it personally. She's coming over in 20 minutes. And with that, he walked away. That kid. I shook my head and sent a mind, linked to the whole pack that lived in the pack house, warning them to not talk about werewolves if they came across Castiel while she was here, quickly blocking their curious replies. I looked at the time. 6:23 p.m. Time to get everything ready for mate. I nodded back at Basil.